remember that day. I was young and naive, Scrum Master. So when the CEO pushed the product owner and forced him to change his opinion, I did nothing. He did it subtly though, with his face and gesture. And because he didn't break any Scrum mechanic rules, I didn't know what to do. I had no clue. Not until a couple of years later, when I learned about the invisible force that moves our behaviors, most of our behaviors. It's culture. So, culture is more powerful than any framework. Why? Yeah, based on this book. Because it is rooted from basic underlying assumptions. Things that we take for granted, things that sit in our subconscious. And let me give you a story for that. So, the thing that I love most living here is the smile from the strangers whenever I walk. And I come from Indonesia, one of the most friendliest countries in this world. And I hope that it's not because of my nose, my snub nose, or my cute little toddlers. But I know that if I fly to Russia, let's say there's no tackle ban now, and fly to Russia and I talk to the local strangers there, most likely they won't smile back at me. They will think that I'm a little bit crazy. It's not that the Russians are hostile and cannot make any friends. If you Google it, you can find that they can be really helpful to the tourists and be really nice and warm and at the dinner table. It's just the Russians are trained to assume that the strangers, for the strangers, it's better to be cautious rather than be friendly. And that's not what happened, I believe, here in Newcastle and in Indonesia. So, because of different basic assumptions, the exact similar activity perceived differently. That's the power of basic assumptions. And it triggers me to another question. Are there any basic assumptions that works against the job framework? That is our elephant in this room. So, after a couple of books, I found the answer. And the answer is yes. At least there are 5 cultural aspects that, in my opinion, influence our agility. And I really want to share those 5, but if I do that, the Nintendo Switch will be out of my reach. I don't think so I will choose one aspect. It's this one, the leading style. Egalitarian and hierarchical. Very easy. The difference is on how they perceive their boss. A wise friend or a wise father. Okay? And to paint a more picture, let's take the culture map from this book. So Aaron Mayer, the writer, did some research and found this. So my country, Indonesia, is the red white flag over there, one of the most hierarchical countries. And where are you guys? You want to guess? Where? Mirror. Just right in the middle. Modest people. Almost, a little bit to the egalitarian. So, then let's back to the question. Are there any anti-agile basic assumptions? And for me, in my opinion, it's here. Okay? And I can confirm this as Indonesians that most of us think that it's better to agree with your boss. And why this is anti-agile? Because as we know, for solving complex problems, we need to dare to disagree. We don't know what we don't know. That's why this is an anti-agile assumption. And now, with this understanding and knowledge, if I have a time travel machine, I want to go back to my past self. and tell him these three things that I hope will be good takeaways too for you. First, hey, young Rizky, beware of your cultural impediments. Read about cultures, but don't forget, observe the personality of your CEO and also the leaders. Why? Because those are the main source of the basic assumptions in your organizations. And don't swim against the cultural stream. Okay? Don't you dare Rizky to change your culture to be less hierarchical. Unless you have the CEO on your side, it's too strong for you. Then what should you do? That's the third. Dance with it. Be creative, be flexible. If I were in a position, I will increase the communication quality and quantity of the CEO and the product owner. And if the CEO still overrides the product owner, I will tell him and the Scrum team, now the product owner is the CEO. And I will do everything to drag him to attend the sprint planning and sprint review. Of course I will fail. He's a busy person. But that's better rather than having a proxy product owner. So be there to change your role. And if you're not comfortable, then change your title from Scrum Master to Yapuch. So I want to end this talk with a story. I'm new here. I've never worked for Brits at all. Only 5 months being a full-time father. So I cannot give you a story that relates. My story is very Indonesian-centric. So, but here's the thing. I hope that after this talk, whenever you feel something weird in your heart, but you don't know, you're not really sure what's wrong, then might be you face a cultural impediment. And because culture sits in your subconscious, you should solve that soon. Culture should come first. Thank you very much.